So Ian, do you have another question for Stan?
Well, I was going to ask about the paranormal equipment, which you beat me to it. So, so my question really has been answered already.
It's okay, because I'm just always, fascinated with all of us. And when I say all of us, I know, Rachel, you understand. It's like you said, we all have some kind of ability. Whether we're tuned into it or not is really the key. Like, I know that Ian likes to, say he doesn't, but I do feel he does, because when he tells us, when we talk about this on the show and with the equipment and everything, it seems to go a little bit further. And I think sometimes, like you said, we don't really allow ourselves to kind of believe in those things. It's sort of an interesting conundrum, right? Because it's just such a unique experience to everybody, right? Like, we do all have our own way of, I guess, interpreting it or understanding it. And while there are similarities, there are certain things that do seem to connect us. I think that it's really just a very personal experience. So let me ask you this, Dan, because I'm really interested, because I know now, I mean, I'm well into life at this point. When I was very young, I didn't really understand what was happening to me. I would see things, I would hear things. I just, I didn't get it. My mother was, not 100% supportive. She used to say, "Oh, you're just having a bad dream and go to bed." But I've soon sort of discovered different things over the years, and it changes for me. And this is what I want to ask, because the way that I perceive things or receive things, I've noticed now, is a lot different than it was when I was in my 20s or when I was a teenager. Now I'm able to understand what's happening as I receive it. So here's an example. If I'm receiving something, I will often find that if it is medically related, right? So like I said, like somebody, a spirit, wants to kind of show me how they've passed, they will give me some sort of indication, whether I get a pain or I get some sort of strange feeling on one side of my body, or there's something happening. Or if they want to show me visually, it always shows up on my right hand peripheral side. So whenever I see a spirit, I never see it as like a full body embodiment of a ghost, right? It always kind of just appears here for me, and I can see it very clearly. I can describe it. I can tell you what it's wearing, how it looks, what it smells like, all of those things. Yet it's not, it's not a physical manifestation of something. It's just here. That is how I perceive things. So when I do come in contact with spirit and I do have an experience where they want to present what they look like to me, and that I see them here. I have talked with other people with the same type of thing, where it literally just rolls right up and it's right there beside you. And if you look directly at it, you don't see it, but it's that peripheral mind's eye that can pick that up. Do you relate to that, or is your experience something completely different?
Well, my experience is the way I work with spirit, or rather the way they work with me, because if they don't want to, they're not going to do anything. For that it's the entire body, the entire person, the entire energy. Yep. And it seems to be working with me. I find if people are earthbound, there's usually a reason for it, obviously a message, and they want to speak to you on that. I don't know if you've heard of Emma's Back Porch Restaurant in Burlington.
Yes, I'm aware of it, yes.
Yes, okay, it's supposed to be very haunted there. And I was invited to go there and picked up certain energies and certain things going on there. And, the message was over there. Apparently at one time, days there where people got dressed up and they were elegant. And nowadays people don't necessarily get dressed up to go to the restaurant. But right. Then the message to me was about, you got to be a night there where they're going to, people should be dressed up and have like a special night for that. And then going on, finding out, they had that at one time with that. So, with me, it's the whole package. It's not part of it. I feel the whole energy for that. I connect. and I find I'm a receiver of messages from them to me. But to answer your question, it's not part, it's the entire energy that I'm picking up from someone, or something that's going on there, and trying to find out, what it is that they want, what would they like to accomplish, what's going on, what message they want to have for somebody else. Again, it's one of those things, I guess, I can't explain it. It just happens. Yes.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You get a sense of smell too, because with me, sometimes I can smell things that belong to the deceased, like cigarettes that they smoked the majority of their life, or a perfume, cigars, another one.
Flowers,
like
a special flower. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the answer to that is yes. And there's usually a connection to that. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And I agree, like for me, like even though I can see them here in my peripheral, I experience everything about them. I mean, it's not that I'm not, but the visual is always here for me. And that's the funny thing, like it's not like I'm looking right at them like I'm looking at you right now, or it's always in that peripheral, although I'm experiencing everything. I mean, I've honestly had moments where I'm fairly certain that they've visited full body inside me, because I'm seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling everything that they went through. And it's a really interesting, I mean, again, this is why paranormal is so popular, is because I think it is just unexplainable in terms of, everybody's experiences. It's all very individual. It's all very much, our own thing, right? So, and I'm really happy to say, Stan, that I'm, the shows that we've done together, when I was on your show, and then when I was on Paranormal Yacker, and the previous show was the Paranormal Show. Yes,
that's correct. Yeah.
Show. And that was, I had so much fun on the shows, and, talking about all of these different things. And we've covered a lot of topics. I mean, over the years, we've covered everything from the Victorian occult to having live readings on air where people would call in and I would answer their questions and do all these things. So it's been a lot of fun. And I mean, I always enjoy working with you in, whatever respect it might be. And I'm certainly hoping that we can, once COVID's maybe petered out just a touch more, so we can enjoy, a larger crowd.
I look forward to it. Totally mutual.
Yes, definitely.
You're a wonderful guest. You're genuine. And that's good too. You didn't put up any front or any ears.
No, I'm just me.
and you were good.
That's the thing. I'm just me. And I love that we can sit and we can have these conversations. And I look forward to when we can plan the next paranormal conference. And you definitely have to bring back the Crystal Skull and do that healing session again. It was mind blowing. It's just, I mean, we can't even express to.
I'm eager to see it. I bet it was great.
Listening, that, even though we did video some of it, you can't encapsulate that energy that was coming from the skull, and you, and the ability to touch the skull and to be able to feel all of the I know people will be skeptical, but you need to come and be a part of that.
Yeah, if somebody's a true skeptic, I'm all for that. But I have found, I don't know what you have found, but I have found maybe 98% of the people say, I'm a skeptic. They're not a skeptic. They made up their mind. They know, they just want to give, they don't even listen to you when you speak. No. I love debate. I think it's great. It's healthy. This side, that side, but these skeptics, I don't believe it. What do you do? Like what's happened with my circles here, where somebody is there and a loved one is in the hospital, and it's only a matter of time. We go to be healed, and they get healed within 24 hours. Just coincidence. A lot of skeptics say, the bottom line is, I really don't care, but it's just very sad. But the bottom line is, people are going to be helped by it. That's it. Or they'll say, you tell somebody something in a reading. Well, how would you know? How did you know that? How do you know that? You picked it up. So I don't know. I don't know how many real skeptics there are in the world. And one of the things that made the circle wonderful with your group, Sika, at your show, was that everybody was into it. And just like one person singing is wonderful, a whole choir, that much more of that energy is going out there.
And there was quite a few people who attended that. I have to say that.
Yes, very nice. Yes.
Well attended.
You did a good job. Too bad. Well, you'll just have to recreate it in another building.
Yeah, well, again, like I say, perhaps we can start a planning session for 2024. We just have to find a new amazing location that will work for what we want, right? Because I think that was the beauty of it. And, we're not tooting our own horn here, but I think that was the beauty of what made that conference very different from other conferences was the location. It wasn't just a big, empty, sort of utilitarian conference space. It had its own energy, its own spirits, its own ability to charge the room and charge.
It was a haunted location.
It was a haunted location.
Yeah.
So now if anybody's listening and you have a haunted location that can fit even 100 people in various rooms at different times, we're really open for, that kind of experience, because I think that that's what was so great about this was it wasn't a big, crowded, noisy conference. It was a place where people came who were interested. They listened to our speakers. They participated, they got a reading, they got to talk to, like we had other great guests too, like Tim Shaw and, and YouTube and all of these like really wonderful people that came out, right? Kat from Cat and Monkey in Niagara, all of these really wonderful people who work in different realms, but just so interesting to speak to. So we'll have to get on that again. But Stan, before we let you go today, I want you to tell us about the Paranormal Yacker. I know we touched on your guests, but tell us about the show. And then, give us just a little snippet of what we can expect when your book does come out.
Sure. Yeah. I just want to give a codicil to what you had just said about your show and the energy and everything over there too. Yes, the place was very important and it was very good. But you and your guests and your attendees all contributed to that because you could feel the energy. Everybody was into it. It wasn't like a joke or anything else like that. It was serious. So that's part of the puzzle too, going in with that. Okay. Yes. Okay. My show, Paranormal Yacker.
Yes.
Okay.
Talk to us about that.
My pleasure to do that. Okay. I'm the host of the Paranormal Yacker. It's a YouTube show every week. Once a week, I have a different guest of note. Happily, you were one of them on that. And hopefully your other guest over there will be my guest down the line too, if it meets their schedule, because I find you all quite interesting with that. So if the people, I love it because I get into UFOs, ghosts, haunted houses, empaths, reincarnation, different subjects in the paranormal. So if they're interested, they go to paranormalyacker.com and press the subscribe button. It's free. There's no charge for it. Each week, they'll automatically be sent a copy of my interview from that week. And they'll be able to also look at past ones that I've done for a number of years. So that's pretty much it. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about my show. And I got to say, it's been an absolute glorious being on your show. I really missed this and hope the next one will be an in-person thing.
Yes, me too. I mean, it's been great. And, we always I love to get together with you and Ray and just, we've been for lunch and we've been for dinner and we've done, and I miss doing that because with COVID, we were sort of all, in this weird realm. But I'm hoping that, we'll be able to get back to things and definitely start planning something, hopefully for 2024 and bring the paranormal conference back. And it was called Southern Ontario, Western New York Paranormal Conference. So we sort of joined, forces. We brought people over from Buffalo and different places so that, because we're in the Niagara region, so it is really just, sort of one big area that is filled with interesting people.